A few years ago, I was deeply depressed. It all started before I went to university even. I just kind of remember feeling, not that I wanted to die necessarily, but that I didn't really want to live. Like, I didn't really give a shit. Like, if there was a button there that I could click and just painlessly I'd stop existing, I probably would have. I went to the doctor for it, I got prescribed various different pills and shit. Then I went to university and stuff kind of got better, but also kind of got worse. I was in a relationship with a girl who I didn't really love anymore. I was drinking every fucking day, doing drugs, waking up at like 5 p.m. in the afternoon and going to bed at 8 in the morning. My life was a fucking mess, bro. But anyway, that kind of got me thinking, because at the time, I was totally lost. I didn't know what to do. There was no one telling me what to do. So anyway, I thought I'd make that video with a few actionable steps at the beginning, things you can do right now, but also a couple of things that take a longer period of time. But anyway, these are the ways I started to enjoy life again. So the first thing I did was I opened my blinds like they are now and never shut them. Never fucking shut them. Let the sun in, bro. One of the big parts of depression is you just can't be fucked anymore. Like, I remember there were days when I never saw the sun anymore. I would wake up into darkness and go to bed in darkness. My blinds would be shut all fucking day long. And the most sunlight I'd see would be at like 5 p.m. when the sun was going down behind all the clouds and I'd be off to get a frozen pizza from Sainsbury's, right? Like, I lived in complete darkness. But the second I decided, you know what, fuck this, bro. Open my blinds fully. Go to sleep when the sun set. And when the sun rose in the morning, even if I'd only slept for 2 fucking hours because I'd been drinking all night, I was just like, you know what, bro, fuck this. I'm just going to get up. I will punish myself for the mistake I made. And when the sun was streaming in the mornings, I would let it fully hit me. I never shut my blinds. And I don't know, it just made me start appreciating my days so much more. Then the second thing that helped me, and perhaps the most important one in a way, was kind of scheduling in a dopamine detox every single day. So I decided, you know what, look, I spent my entire life sat in my fucking bed watching YouTube and Netflix. Fuck that, brother, fuck that. So I said to myself, right, I will not allow myself to watch these things before 11 p.m. at night. And in hindsight, maybe that was a bit of a shit idea because it would fuck with my sleep. But I think that's a better alternative than watching it all throughout the day than watching it at night anyway. So I would say if you're someone that watches TV all throughout the day, falls asleep to TV at night, then definitely implement this trick. Cut out TV, so Netflix and YouTube, until 11 p.m. And it's boring. It is boring at the beginning. To begin with, you start to feel like, oh, I don't really know what to do. I'm sort of just sat here like staring at a fucking wall. But that is better than the alternative, which is spending your entire day consuming mindless shit. So I would say, yeah, if you're a guy that watches TV all day long, like I used to do, one of the biggest tricks that you can implement right now that will change your life is just to say, I can still watch Netflix, I can still watch YouTube, cool, but I'm not going to do it before 11 p.m. at night. Then the third thing, and this can be a bit more vague, but for me specifically, it was the guitar. I picked up a guitar and started to learn it. So if you want to follow my exact steps, go and buy a fucking guitar. Like, you can get one for like £100, that's good enough. But you can find cheap ones, I'm sure, on Facebook Marketplace, whatever. But go and get a guitar. But what the guitar really meant for me was something that I loved. So find it. For a lot of people, it's a musical instrument because it's just a way to play music. I don't know, music is such a powerful thing for humans to hear. And to be able to play it yourself is so much different from like listening to it. So go and buy a guitar, a fucking violin, a drum, like whatever. Just buy something that you can create music with. But generally speaking, find something that you love. Maybe you pick up a skateboard and you develop a new love for that. But one of the big ways to drag yourself out of depression, one of the big ways to start enjoying life again is to have something in life that you enjoy. It sounds so simple, but the problem is that people with depression don't really enjoy very much. They'll live their lives and they'll input a ton of crap that they think they like, but they don't really. So video games, smoking, vaping, watching porn, watching TV, Netflix, YouTube, all hours of the day. They think they enjoy these things, but they don't. And it's so hard to tell you don't, but trust me, brother, you don't. Go and find something that you really love. Cut out all of this shit. Stop doing all the bullshit and start adding in things that you love. It is that simple. Getting out of depression is that easy. Stop doing all the shit in your life that makes you feel sad, that makes you feel shit, and start doing stuff that makes you feel love and excitement and beauty. Then number 4, and kind of linked to that in a way, is reading. And this is twofold. So on the one hand, I was reading a lot of books on self-improvement, and they helped me a lot. I was reading The Untethered Soul. I remember that one being a big one. The Guide to the Good Life. That was about Stoicism. There was another one. It was Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. That wasn't actually a very good book, but go for it if you want. It's only like 100 pages long. But I would read books about self-improvement, and they would kind of help me. They'd kind of help me beat this sort of depression from a more mental standpoint. But also I'd read fiction. And not because it was escapist, but just genuinely because I loved the stories. When I would read a good book like Norwegian Wood by Murakami, I'd be sat there and the book would kind of pervade the rest of my life. I'd be reading a great book full of descriptive passages about life, and it would start to make me appreciate my own life more. It's hard to explain the feeling until you've read a book with great descriptive writing in it, but when you read a book like that, you start to go through your life as if you're in a book. When a book turns the mundane into beauty, you can kind of do that in your own life, and you can walk around it and you can eat simple food and you can sit there and just play your guitar or look out of the window all night while music's playing, and you can develop a genuine love for that. When you read fiction properly, you can start to romanticize your own life. And it is kind of powerful in its own way. You can start to see the beauty in it. Reading fiction helps you develop an appreciation for your life. The number 5 and 6 I'm going to link together, but they were buying a whiteboard and buying a journal. So a whiteboard is still something I do. I don't know if it's in the frame, but there is a whiteboard on my wall still to this day. That dragged me out of depression. It was such a valuable thing in my life when I was trying to develop myself, when I was trying to grow myself, when I was trying to rip myself out of the fucking hole. It was so powerful for me to have something on my wall that I could see every single day that would help me. So I'd have various things on there. I'd say like reminders to meditate, a to-do list, a reading list. I had my fucking nofap streak on there back when I actually thought nofap streaks were a good thing. But have something on your wall. I can't stress the importance of actually having a physical thing that you can see. So much of our lives now, we do them on our phones and we think that's great. We have our to-do list, our fucking calendar, our reading list. Everything's in the notes app. But it isn't good, brother, because you have to go and seek it to see it. Whereas if you have something pinned up to your wall, either on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard, you're forced to do it in a weird way. So get a whiteboard. And then the second one was journaling. And in the same sort of vein, it just helped me organise my life, because I'd be able to sit there at the end of every day and I'd write down what happened that day, what I did well, what shit went wrong. I'd be able to write out my emotions. I'd be able to kind of talk to myself. I always say this, a journal is the bridge between your subconscious and your conscious mind. It is your way to rationalise subconscious feelings. So if you're sat there feeling depressed, like I often was, I'd sit there and I'd write in my journal, I'd say, today I feel like shit. Why? Having the journal, having that pen and that paper, let me question why I was feeling the things I was feeling. And often that would help me come up with solutions. Like I say, it would bridge the subconscious and the conscious minds. So I'd be able to rationalize the subconscious emotions I was feeling. So say I felt upset, and I'd write out why. Don't know, argument with my girlfriend, whatever. I'd be able to then rationalize those emotions and come up with solutions for them. Journaling was so powerful in that regard. Even if all you use it for is writing out how you feel each day, just do it, bro. Trust me. It is so important. The number 7 was one of the fucking huge ones. But one of the massive things that got me out of depression was developing compassion through meditation and some sort of philosophy of life, specifically Buddhism. So for hours of my days sometimes, I mean most days it would be half an hour, but some days I would literally meditate for 3 to 4 hours. I would sit outside in my garden and meditate. I'd go out late at night and do that. I'd be up at 2 a.m. until 5 in the fucking morning meditating. It became huge to me. It became so deeply important. And I discovered Buddhism as a kind of answer to so many of these problems I was having. Buddhism is a philosophy that is designed around the reduction of suffering. And when your entire life is suffering, it is a philosophy that speaks to you. So if you haven't already, and if you suffer from depression, then I urge you to look into Buddhism. There are so many good books for it. I mean, Why Buddhism is True. That's a very easy way into it, if that makes any sense. The Untethered Soul, like I talked about before, is a great way to get into Buddhism. The 3 pillars of Zen, I think it's 3 pillars. But again, that's another great way to do it. And also fiction, the Dharma Bonds, of anything was probably the book that brought me into Buddhism the most, and it is fiction. Jack Kerouac's The Dharma Bombs. Go and read that. But get into Buddhism. Another couple, what was it called? The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. There are so many, they just keep rolling off the tongue because I read them. I read so many books. Buddhism became a kind of passion for me. I would just get so invested in it, and for 2 or 3 years of my life, that is what I did. I wore a fucking monk's poncho and walked around with a stick and a hat on. Brother, I got into Buddhism. I stopped desiring all these things. I started appreciating the little things in my life. And those things, although I don't practice Buddhism strongly today, they still carry forward. I'm still more happy with a fucking evening in and a nice meal than I am with going out and doing all these random things. It develops within you an appreciation for your life, like we talked about before with reading, but also it develops compassion. One of the most important ways, and you've probably heard it before, but to get out of depression is to start to give to others. The second you start to live your life in the service of other people is when you it's hard to explain, is when you become happy in yourself. When you realize that you're giving to other people is when it doesn't matter so much that your life is going to shit, pretty much. It's hard to explain, but compassion is so important, and you need to build a compassionate mindset. If you're suffering from depression, then that is the easiest, quickest way to start feeling good, is to practice what I like to call aggressive compassion. And we just spoke about it in the Becoming a Man video that I just did, but practice aggressive compassion. So go out now onto the streets, and if you pass a homeless person, give them money. If it's cold, it's winter at the moment, take your coat off and give it to them. Go and cook them a nice warm meal and bring it to them. Do something. Do something compassionate, do something kind. Join a charity, a soup kitchen, whatever. Just practice aggressive compassion. The easiest way to get out of depression is by doing that. Turn your life into an exercise in compassion. Try and live every single day generously. Become the most generous person that you can be, and I guarantee you will get out of depression. It brings you so much fulfillment in your life, and I get that is a selfish thing to do things just because they bring you happiness, but it doesn't take away from the fact that that is true. If you live a life generously, you start to feel good, bro. You know the feeling. When you go and watch the This Restored My Faith in Humanity videos, you know what I mean. When you watch these videos, you feel so good. So just imagine how you feel when you actually do them yourself. So there you go, easy tip, but kind of linked to a much bigger one, is investigate Buddhism. That is the big tip. But the little tip is practice aggressive compassion. The number 8, and this one's been done to death as well, but is NoFap. NoFap genuinely cured my depression, and not because of NoFap. This is why it's a hard thing to recommend, but the actual act of quitting pornography probably had some effects on my mind. Let's be honest, there are different effects that, your physiology changes when you watch too much porn. Your dopamine receptors get destroyed. But more so, it acted as a cornerstone. And this and the next habit are 2 things that I like to call cornerstone habits. They're things that by themselves, sure, they're important, but they hold together all the other habits. So a cornerstone is the thing in the middle of an archway that by pressure holds all the other bits of the arch in place. And NoFap is like that. When you start on NoFap, while by itself it might not be that successful and you're going to relapse every few days and feel like shit, what you don't realize is that NoFap is developing a deep interest in self-improvement within you. That is just what it is. I think the most powerful bit of NoFap is that for so many people it is the gateway into self-improvement. They will sit there, and because of it, they will start researching self-improvement videos. They'll find channels like this or like others. They'll find different ways into the kind of self-improvement sphere. They'll learn about meditation, they'll learn about exercise, they'll learn about their diet, they'll learn about so much stuff, about purpose, productivity. NoFap is like the fucking gateway drug for self-improvement, and that's what it was for me. So sure, go and actually research NoFap, but that tip is wider. It is just kind of religiously start to follow self-improvement because it works. Self-improvement does work. If you're going to be sat there and be that cynical guy who's like, no, fuck me, self-improvement doesn't do anything, it's all bullshit, then I'm sorry, but you deserve the depression that you have. And probably no one has ever told you that before. But if you were sat there complaining about depression, complaining about being sad, but putting in zero work, consistently doing absolutely fuck all to try and treat the problem that you have, then you deserve the depression that you're going through. Caveat to all of that, big disclaimer, if it is a proper psychological depression you're going through, ignore all of that, go to a doctor, get on your medication, whatever. This is for the people that don't have that, like me back in the fucking day. When I was sat there doing fucking nothing and then complaining about how my life was shit, how I wanted to kill myself and going to the fucking doctor. Brother, if I could go back now and tell myself something, I wouldn't even say a word. I'd just slap myself in the fucking face and say, shut the fuck up, start doing something. Action is the only way to cure these problems that you have. This is a bit of a rant right now, but the problem with depression is so many people, because it is a mental issue, they kind of start to identify with it. If you had a broken leg, you'd go to the doctor and get it fixed. But depression is an illness just like the broken leg is, but we don't do anything to fix it. And it's because it's in our brains. When you have something in your brain, some sort of sadness, depersonalization, depression, whatever it is, so many people experience it, you identify with it. You start to think, I am depressed, not I have depression. And so you do nothing to fix it. You kind of start protecting it in a weird way. You start to like watch things that are sad and kind of like sit there and cocoon up in your own sadness and spend your whole lives in fucking darkness listening to The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. Brother, you are creating your own depression. NoFap is a great way into this. So go and research that. If you by some miracle haven't heard of NoFap, go and search it now. But self-improvement generally. Go through channels like this and watch every single fucking video, implement every single strategy, and you will get out of depression. This is what these channels are designed for. I designed my channel specifically to help people like you who feel like shit. And if you can watch every video and implement them all, then you will get out of depression. It is as simple as that. Once you start inputting good things and taking out bad things, you cure yourself. But you need to decide that you want to cure yourself. And then the final tip is I started to look after my health. I started to go to the gym, I started to eat properly. This is so important, man. I don't know how to explain it, but your brain can't be healthy if your body isn't healthy. When you feel like shit, when you wake up in the mornings and you can't breathe and your chest hurts and you feel ill and you have a headache and brain fog because you've spent the whole last night smoking fucking 30, 40, 50 cigarettes and drinking, you can't feel mentally good. The second you start going to the gym though, and this is why I describe it as another cornerstone habit, is because it builds other habits around it. If you go to the gym, you'll start, eating better. You'll stop smoking because it'll affect your performance. You'll start running to improve your cardiovascular health. You'll start doing yoga to improve your flexibility. You'll just start doing other things. You'll start broadly looking after your health more. And when you look after your bodily health, you look after your mental health. It's one of those age-old adages that no one ever follows, but they're so true. Healthy body, healthy mind. If you can develop a healthy body, the healthy mind will follow. Anyway, those are the things that dragged me out of my depression. They're the things that meant I could start living and enjoying my life again. So thank you for watching the video. Leave a like and a comment. You'll find those right below the subscribe button. And join the Discord. It's full of men just like yourself who are trying to grow themselves, trying to better themselves. Come onto there and talk to me and the other guys about your self-improvement journey, about any struggles that you're going through, like these, about things that you're trying to implement. Also, recently I started doing video calls, so if you do suffer from depression, and I'm not a registered psychiatrist or anything, but I know a couple of things. Sign up for a call, it's in the description. It's totally free, confidential, one-to-one. Fit in your preferred date and time and book yourself in for a call with me. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Manifest excellence. Goodbye.